Coach John King with us. We have Frank Sides, Keaton Daniels, and Katie Baker. I'm Morgan Smith. Excited. Round 2 of the playoffs. Frisco Lone Star tonight, Coach. How excited are you?
Well, I'm excited to be in round 2. You know, we're guaranteed another game, but hey, we got a tough matchup tonight. The Rangers, they come in here 9-2. They went through a little cycle there during the season. They lost their quarterback, played another guy, then they've gone with the 7 now, and they hadn't lost since he's been at the spot. So he's a pretty good player, very good. But they're good in all spots, well coached, well disciplined, and they don't beat themselves.
Tell us a little bit about the preparation this week. I know weather's kind of been crazy. I know Monday was a little obstacle for you guys.
Yeah, Monday we had to go, went to Tatum and use their indoor, and I do appreciate Tatum ISD allowing us to do that. And, you know, we were able to get in some good practice that we would otherwise not been able to do. And then Tuesday was a normal work day, and Wednesday and so forth. So it was a little bit of a curveball, but, you know, we've done that before. And just how our kids roll, they'll adapt and overcome.
So last week, Crosby came out and, for lack of a better way to word it, kind of sucker punched you a little bit and got up and caught you off guard. How difficult was it to keep the kids' heads in that game and let them know, hey, just keep plugging away?
Well, we were figuring they were going to come out throwing haymakers. They had everything to gain and nothing to lose. I mean, you know, with that. And we told the kids, just got to weather the storm. We'll get dialed in and figure out what they're doing. But, you know, they had the bag of tricks, onside kicks, fake punts. You know, they popped a play on us. But our kids settled down and played ball. And I thought, we did a good job running the ball in those conditions. We needed to. It's tough to throw it in those conditions. Yeah. And their defense is so hard to prepare for. So many different looks. They're never going to line up the same way twice, and they move them every snap. So I thought our offensive line did a good job of picking all that up.
Coach, what's been a strength of your squad the last few games?
Well, the strength of our squad the whole year has probably been our defense. You know, we've played great defense and gotten turnovers. And, you know, from an offensive standpoint, our running game has been really solid. We haven't been turning the ball over. You know, I think we ended the regular season plus 22 in that category, and I think that's huge for playing winning football.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, Katie, I thought you were going to have some crazy stat for me. That's why I kept looking at you. Normally she comes up here and has some crazy stat.
Coach, this is I'm waiting on her.
Yeah.
Well, I have seen – well, I was looking at some of their previous games last week, and I don't know if this is new or not, but they had a split back with a fullback or maybe a halfback in the backfield. Is that something that was brand new last week that they brought out for the playoffs?
No, we've seen it.
Seen it before? Yeah, okay, because I saw a lot of their highlights. It was just a one-back situation until last week that I saw the split back with the halfback.
Yeah, they gave us a few different looks that they've used throughout the year, but, you know, that's the crazy thing about playoffs now. You swap all tapes. There's not much you can hide.
Yeah.
You know, so we picked up on it.
And they make it easy for us to watch, too.
Yeah.
I got to see Frisco Lone Star play first game of the year against Texas High at AT&T Stadium. They used 3 quarterbacks in that game. I'm assuming they're not doing that anymore for what you said, but they look pretty athletic. At the time, they were ranked number 2 in the state.
Yeah, they are athletic, and they've got a good squad. You know, as I mentioned, the quarterback change. I mean, this guy's a runner. He can throw the ball. They got a freshman running back, 21, the Groves kid. Big play receiver out wide who also doubles up, plays cornerback. So, you know, they've got players in the right spots. And as I mentioned earlier, Jeff Rayburn, he does an outstanding job of coaching. And they've had a lot of success through the years. And there's a reason why. They've got players and well coached.
Well, talk not being worried, or for lack of a better words, what are some of the things that kind of concern you about this Lone Star team?
Well, you know, from a defensive standpoint, their nose guards, very disruptive. He's probably the biggest kid in the defensive line. Well, he is the biggest kid they have in the defensive line. 33, one of their 4 techniques is very active. 2 linebackers inside are good. Like I said, they never get out leveraged. They're hard to prepare for. They're going to make sure they're lined up right. They're not overly complicated in what they do. They're great at making the adjustments. It may be a tweak here and a tweak there, and how they adjust to a formation or a motion or those things.
So I'd like to circle back to the kids. It's still a relatively young team, and they went through some of this last year. How difficult is it this time of year to keep them kind of keyed down and keep their emotions in check for big games like this?
You know, they have their moments of being kids.
Yeah.
You know, and that's every year. You know, and it's a matter of getting them dialed back in. You know, we'll have to play our best football tonight to come out here with a win. There's no doubt about that. There's no room for error. I think our kids understand that, you know, but at the same time, you don't want them running around for 4 or 5 days and anxiety or nerves or whatever you want to call it. It just kicks in and wears them down, you know. But we do our normal deal. We prepare each day and build up towards game day.
What's the secret sauce to doing that?
Secret sauce to doing that?
Yeah.
Got gumbo on Thursday?
Well, I think, the biggest thing is stability. This staff understands it. These kids have grown up through the program. They've been on some of these playoff runs and rides as underclassmen, and might not have played, but they saw how the week of preparation goes and what the expectation is, and that's never going to change. And that's key. You just got to have great people and great players, and everybody be pulling the rope in the same direction.
Coach, what year is this for you?
My 19th as a head coach, 23 total at Longview.
And we were talking earlier, like, man, this is my absolute most favorite time of the year. But I'm not in it 18 hours a day like you are. This time of the year, is it still fun, or is it more work, less work? How would you describe it?
It's more work because you got all the videos to look at. You got uncommon opponents you don't know much about. And it's a grind. To be quite honest, it's a grind every day. And about, I guess, Wednesday after you come off the field, you start honing in on what it is you like, or you start cutting away, or you say, hey, we're going to do this. I guess you get a knot out of your stomach. But Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's a grind. There's no secret to that. And 18-hour day may be a short day on those days.
Frank told me you're a good cook.
I can cook a little bit.
I might come check that out.
It's one way
Maybe
to
next
relieve
week.
a little stress. Get your mind off something.
So, Coach, obviously the butterflies are still there because when they go away, you hang them up. But tonight, when will those butterflies kick in, the nerves for you specifically?
For me?
Yes, sir.
I guess the nerves kick in the closer you get to kickoff. The bus ride over here, every time we get on a charter bus, I take me about a 30-minute nap. I can tell you that. That's some of the best sleep I get all week. And the kids do too. They know our rule is this: when those tires hit I-20, I don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah.
And they have a chance to kind of relax and get a nap in and think about what's going on and get ready to go play. But the closer we get to 7 o'clock, it'll build up. I can tell you it'll build up. Just waiting for kickoff. Let's go find out. Let's go see how they're going to line up and play us, how we match up, physicality or speed or whatever it may be. Can our kids handle all the things they're going to do? And quite frankly, tonight we're going to have a different lineup up front. And we have got a couple of guys we had to move around, and we got a sophomore tackle that'll start and be his first start. So I told him, I said, I'm not worried about your effort, your desire to win. You understanding what we're doing, just don't let the moment be too big. Don't get too nervous. And we got to do our job of taking that pressure away from him too. And I got 100% confidence in the kid. So, he'll play well.
That's great.
That's good.
Coach, thanks for coming on
You
and
bet.
talking with us.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have no crazy
Yes,
stat.
I don't have any. I don't have any.
for the first time.
Coach, get out, huh?
Yeah,
Coach,
but
at
it's
the end of the first half, that'll be your 912th minute of coaching. Thought it'd be something crazy.
No, I don't have any. I just wish them all the luck.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
Coach.
you very much. Appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you coming on, and go Lobos.
You bet.
Good luck.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you.
And now at Orr, we want to buy your used vehicle and we'll give you guaranteed top dollar for yours. And if you prefer to trade, even better, with massive savings on every new vehicle at Orr Cadillac GMC in Longview.
In Longview, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Charlene Ingram for your insurance and financial needs.
House party? We got you covered. Office meeting? Come on, treat them right. Game day? You know we're here for it. Get your taco, nacho, or fajita bar today, only at Juicy's Taco.
At Godarzi & Young, we take things more seriously.
Every case that's handled at our office is handled by a team. That work and dedication has caused our office to recover more record verdicts and settlements than any other law firm in Northeast Texas.
It is our obligation to make sure our client has the financial backings and the manpower to be successful.
We are exactly who we say we are. We're trial lawyers who've gotten results year in, year out.
Don't fumble when you're looking for your next trailer. At RJ Trailers, we got the hookup. Cargo Mate, Hallmark, Text Line, Diamond Seed. We've got the inventory selection to get you into the end zone. Step into savings with R&J Trailers. Don't pass up on the best deals around. R&J Trailers in Longview and online at rnjtrailers.com. We've got the hookup.
And we are back. We added, who we had? Lizzie Baker. Lizzie is a big-time Gilmer fan.
Yes.
She goes to all the state championship games. Shows up early and stays late.
Morgan.
Stays late for the celebrations.
Morgan, watch it.
Let's talk about the Longview tonight. Number 1 ranked team in the state, playing Frisco Lone Star, who started the year off ranked number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're 9-2 right now. Mm-hmm. They've switched to a traditionally more running quarterback, so it's going to be kind of exciting to see. We know how athletic this Longview defense is. Mm-hmm. And Frisco's put up a bunch of points.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest surprises with Frisco Lone Star, them losing 2 games, is a team that normally don't lose a lot of games. So they're not going to give up. They're going to be very resilient. They're going to fight to the end. I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the quarterback situation. He's a kid that just decommitted last week to Texas A&M in baseball. But he doesn't throw it much. He runs it a lot. And he plays safety, not afraid of contact. So Longview's got to bring all 11 and rally around.
Sure.
You were talking that they put up a lot of points this year. They've actually scored 412, but Longview's only given up 92 this year.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good test to the defense.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I think for the defense, it's just maintain discipline and contain the quarterback.
Absolutely.
I had a guy call into the show this week in Texarkana, and he said if you take off special teams plays, Longview's only giving up like 6 points a game. Take off special teams touchdown.
If you don't take off anything, they're giving up 7 points a game, right? It's.
I thought it was 9 or something from what she just said.
Oh, if you add last week's 15, yeah. But before last week, they were giving an average of 7 points a game.
I do this, and I didn't even know that.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and the only touchdown they've allowed in the fourth quarter wasn't by the defense. It was a fumble return for a touchdown. Yeah. So when they
thank God Frank's doing his job.
They clamped down. What I was going to say is I suspect this game is going to go a little bit like the last couple we've seen, Keaton. Lone Star is going to come out. They're going to script a couple drives, show Longview something they haven't seen, maybe score a few times and hope it kind of draws the Lobos off sides a little bit. But I suspect they're going to settle in and score 35 unanswered like they've been doing all year.
And Frank, that's going to be one of the biggest things that we can't allow to do. Just because we playoffs, every team that we're playing is better and better. This is the best team that we played since Lancaster. The second best team that we played pretty much all year. We can't give up a run because 9 times out of 10 they're going to be able to withstand everything that we throw at them. They done seen everything that we're going to throw at them too. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, but I tell this all the time. Like, it's different when you're playing Longview. Like, Longview kids are different.
Absolutely.
You know that. You're
Absolutely.
a Longview kid. I mean, one of the greats at Longview. It's just different. You can't explain it, but Frisco Lone Star is about to find out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And me being respectful for the other team, it's just how we always, Coach King brought us up. You're not scared of anybody, but at the same time, you're going to make them feel you. And Longview is going to definitely do that tonight.
They just get stronger as the game goes on. The defense does especially.
And you're asking for a stat for Coach King, right? From Katie last
I don't know why she didn't bring one.
Well, I've got one for you.
Okay.
Longview is 13-3 in the second round of the playoffs under Coach King.
Katie, you've been demoted on first segment. You're now with Lizzie's on first segment. Katie's on second segment. It made me look dumb at the end. I thought Katie was just going to come over with something like.
And Coach King was like, "Is that it?"
He was ready too for it. He was waiting on it.
Yeah. Come on, Katie.
I'm such a letdown. I'm so sorry.
Well, I mean, now talking about the Longview offense, one of the biggest things that we have to do is get the ball to our best players more so. Just get Jordan going early and often. Let's complete a couple passes to Jalen, get the offense going. I know last week was windy and rainy, and we did a better job in the second half on running reverses or scripted plays to get Jalen the ball. But let's try to get our better players the ball early and often.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you guys missed it last week. It was the first time all year that they just said, "Go win us the ball game, number 2."
Absolutely.
And he literally could not be tackled.
Absolutely.
It was insane. I've not seen anything like that in person in a long time.
So me and you both played against Cedric Benson, and somebody compared him to Cedric Benson last week.
No.
No? Okay. All right.
I mean, he was good, but you're talking about like the goat.
No, I'm talking. So I love Taylor to death. I consider Cedric Benson easily one of the best running backs I've ever seen.
I've always said he's the best player I've ever played against.
Yeah, watching him Adrian Peterson. Those were greater greats. Like,
Yeah.
you knew that they was going to play on Sundays, playing on Fridays, easily.
Yeah.
And the scary, this is not his final form, though.
No,
I was about to say, he's just a junior.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
He
Trust
still
me.
has.
And he can do everything that you ask for him to do. I think the world of him. I honestly think he should be a 5-star. That's how much I love Taylor. But comparing him to Cedric Benson is a little steep. Maybe next year.
I know, like, give him
Maybe
time.
next year.
Give
Absolutely.
him time.
I was told his 5th star will come depending on who he commits to, which shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be.
That's just the way it is.
It should
It
be.
just certain schools are 247 schools. Certain schools are on 3 schools. Like if you go to Texas, you have a much better chance of being an on 3 5-star. You'll probably move down to a 3-star to 247. If you go to Oklahoma, you'll be a 5-star 247. You'll probably move down on 3.
And I suspect we'll see some more Jordan Allen tonight. There's going to come a time where they're going to have to win a football game with his arm, and they need to see it. They didn't get a chance to throw last week at all. They just simply couldn't.
Well, Frank, man, I don't know. It's cold, windy.
Yeah.
Well,
If you don't have to throw the ball,
yeah,
I
of
mean,
course not.
I agree, but unless Longview plans on playing indoors.
I feel like this one's probably going to be in hand by the half. And
Oh, don't say
we'll
that.
see some Jordan Allen throws in the third quarter.
Well, I believe just like Frank said, these teams gonna probably line up 8 in the box easily. They're gonna make you throw the ball and beat them. They saw the game last week, and they knew it was windy, and they know it's cold and windy tonight too as well. So they're gonna line up and do whatever they can to try to get you to not let number 2, not let 15 beat you. They're gonna do whatever they can.
I remember their rushing defense was pretty good against Texas High, they were playing some young kids at running back. Their passing defense was great against Texas High. So I don't know. We'll see tonight. Nothing knocking against Frisco Lone Star. We're just Longview fans, and this
Absolutely.
happens to be the year that Longview's better.
Hey.
Sure,
You know?
and with the Lobo skill players, you don't have to throw the ball down the field. Just get the ball quickly out in space. And sorry, looking back, somebody's going.
Alexander said we
As long
look
as you
cold.
protect
So man, I can't speak for them, but I am cold.
Keep looking back because there's no worse feeling than get hit in the head with a football in 30-degree weather.
Absolutely.
Freezing.
Be a quick ride home for me though.
Quick ride to the hospital. Yeah, that's it. Keaton, man, you played in some big games. I've always said, man, and even when we started game day, I was like, I got to have Keaton be involved somehow, some way. Second year doing game day, I think we all kind of knew we were going to be sitting here with one of the best teams in the state. I wasn't shocked they came out ranked number 1, but it's deserving at this point. How do you see these playoffs working out?
Man, it's win to go home. It's Longview versus everybody. I put us above everybody else. My sweatshirt says it. I wear this proudly every time I put it on. It's not just. I wish I was still a player because I'm warm because I still want to go out here and play. But man, getting to this point, everybody knows how crucial it is, and I expect to see it. We gave up less than 20 points all year.
Yeah.
The defense is going to be stifling again.
Talent-wise, moving forward, every step of the way should be a mismatch in Longview's favor, but they're young, and Coach King said in my interview yesterday, there's going to be mistakes. They're going to play sloppy. They've got to fight through some of that, and every year he said there's a game that just something's going to happen that's going to throw you off. You got to be able to fight through that. And if we can just keep our head above water, let the talent do its thing, we're looking at a team that could probably go all the way.
Oh, yeah, and these kids know that too. If you ask every kid on both sides, their end goal is to make it to the state championship. But in order to make it to the state championship, you got to go 1-0 each week, and these kids know that. Coach King does a great job in holding them in and making sure we go 1-0 every single day, not just 16-0.
We don't talk about it enough, and we probably should, but the defense.
Absolutely.
It's not these kids' fault that they're not 3 inches taller and they're not 5-star athletes. They're freak athletes. You can't deny that. That defense has led the way, and I got to say it's been such a pleasure to get a chance to watch this kind of talent on a weekly basis for 2 years.
Makes it fun.
I'm blessed every Friday. I look forward to this, even though I'd probably rather be at home tonight.
And you know what? There's a star on every single level of that defense. Defensive line, you got Jeremiah Rugeley. Linebacker, you got T.D. Boone, along with the other linebackers and safeties or DBs. You got your man Willie Nelson, who doesn't. Every time he get the ball, he's ready to take it to the house. So you got somebody like that.
Y'all
on
missed
every
it. He
single
did it last week. They called it back. He
Absolutely.
picked 6 last week.
Absolutely. Every single level of the defense, you got somebody that's a leader, that's ready, that's been there, and that's going to keep driving this defense home.
Let's get through some of these other games real quick. I see Port Arthur, Memorial, and Frisco, Wakeland. This Longview will play the winner of this game.
Yes.
Assuming they win.
Yeah.
Cart for the horse, but assuming Longview wins.
So last week, Port Arthur beat McKinney North 48-41. Just to help with our memories a little bit, Longview beat McKinney North 49-7 when they played them in district. Frisco Wakeland was one of the teams that beat
This one.
Lone Star earlier this year in September, 38-10. So you've got that matchup. Wakeland actually finished 5th in district, even though they beat Lone Star in September.
One thing about that loss, I don't know how I know this, but I happen to know it. They did not have a quarterback that game. They had a wide receiver play quarterback.
I wondered if that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I figured there was some type of
energy,
injury that occurred. All right, next up we've got Lancaster. Been practicing that versus Frisco Reedy. Once again, Reedy played and beat Lone Star earlier this season when they probably didn't have a quarterback. We know Lancaster. They're 9-2. Their DB Corian Gibson is back with the team, so I expect Lancaster to come out on
Lancaster's
top.
a really, really good football team. If Longview gets the win tonight, next week, I hope Lancaster wins this game. I'd love to see them again in the 4th round.
One of the games that I wanted to watch with this Frisco Lone Star team was the game against Reedy. I think Lancaster should definitely take that game. Reedy was good. They was good and sound, but I just think overall Lancaster much more faster, much more athletic,
They've
just
got
better.
so much speed on the field.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was the impressive part of watching them against
Absolutely.
Longview.
And they only beat this Lone Star team.
They gave us all we could handle.
Yeah, it was like a 6-point loss for this Lone Star team against Reedy. So
Yes.
it was a close game.
It was 13-7, I think.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Tyler Chapel Hill. We're going back to East Texas versus Bay City. Last week, Chapel Hill took care of Livingston. They're averaging 50 points a game. And what makes both of these teams interesting is that they both have a sophomore running back and quarterback.
So I got the opportunity to watch Chapel Hill and the Star last year against Austin, the team that played for the state championship. I can't think of the Austin team, purple team.
I watched that game.
What remember the name of that school?
I don't remember the name of the school.
It was a close game.
Yeah.
The quarterback was a freshman at the time.
Yeah.
He was injured earlier in the season, and I remember talking to that coach after the game, and he told me, or I said he agreed he's going to win a state championship with that group he's got.
Yeah.
Chapel Hill's scary good right now if they're 100%.
Yeah.
And, they took the 2 early losses, Gilmer being one of them, but they've turned it around.
And, shout out to Gilmer on that. Nobody was expecting Chapel Hill to lose that game because they were ranked 2 in the state at the time.
Correct.
How many fumbles did Chapel Hill have that game, though? I think they had 5 turnovers, maybe. It was something insane.
Y'all would know.
It's something about those Chapel Hill sophomores. They was playing at the highest level last year as freshmen. So this moment, second round of playoffs, is not going to be too big for them. I got Chapel Hill for that.
I do too.
All right, next up, Keaton. You want to talk about Kilgore and El Campo? You said that they played earlier today?
They had an earlier game. They played down there in Houston. They played at 1 o'clock. It was a high-scoring game. Kilgore ended up pulling it out, I think, by a touchdown or so.
Shout out to my man.
Yeah, so Kilgore is going to round 3 right now.
One of my best friends is a coach there. They shut school down today.
Yeah.
Did they?
And early release Thursday.
Sweet.
So y'all head down there.
That's awesome.
Must
So,
be nice.
man, really happy for that program. They have a first-class coach.
That's amazing.
Liz, you want to take the next one?
Lindell versus Brazosport. Lindell beat Vider last week. They're 7-4. That's just another East Texas team. I know nothing of Brazosport. I don't know if I've ever even.
We know they're 6-5.
They're 6-5. They beat Houston, Washington. I want to take Lindell just because I know nothing about the other team. Anybody else have any?
Sure. You could give me a map and an entire day, and I couldn't find Brazosport.
Probably somewhere around the Brazos River, I'd assume.
Lindell, I'm taking.
So we're going to say somewhere around. Well, they can't be in San Antonio if they're playing Lindell.
Yeah.
I have no idea where that's at.
Yeah, for me, if it's not Longview, it's East Texas versus everybody.
All right, so we got Pleasant Grove versus Caddo Mills. You talked about earlier that Pleasant Grove has kind of changed their offense around a bit.
Yeah,
they've become really explosive.
Brand new offense. I've always said, like, when I think of a really good coach, someone who can adapt to the players they have.
Absolutely.
It's not like we're just going to run this offense or this defense just because that's what we do. Coach Gibson and his staff, a lot of people don't know this, they hired Coach Gibson's dad, who in college hired him for the playoffs. So in college, that's what he did, was make offensive schemes for the players they have available, and that's what he's done here. And I mean, they're going to play. They're going to beat Caddo Mills tomorrow. Caddo Mills is undefeated, but nothing against them. They just haven't played a really good team. Pleasant Grove's battle tested, but this new offense, they literally have their best players on the field for a 4A Division II team. I mean, they looked unbeatable the other night. I hope. I have a really good feeling Carthage is going to be there in round 4. Pleasant Grove will be there. It's going to be a great football game.
Yeah, definitely.
But Pleasant Grove tomorrow, Cattle Mills will probably score some points. They'll probably put up 28-35 just because, at the 4A Division II level, you can't just play your guys both ways the entire time. So they'll eventually, I don't know. Pleasant Grove has gave up, their first-team defense has not given up a point since week 7.
Wow.
Last week they gave up 1 first down, no first downs against Spring Hill, no first downs against North Lamar. Keep in mind, it's pretty terrible opponents with North Lamar and Spring Hill, but, defense still playing really well.
Well, I watched the highlights from the Spring Hill game, and it was just fumble.
Yeah.
Fumble.
They have 5-star Lance Jackson at defensive end. He's just a sophomore. They have senior Victor Shaw at the other defensive end now. They took him out of the interior, moved him to the outside. They have 4 Division I players on the line now.
Wow.
So
That
it's a completely different football team than you remember seeing.
I believe I saw
5 weeks
their
ago.
quarterback got a pretty big offer this week, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It took me a minute, like quarterback. Yeah, no, Akari Johnson.
Yeah, you've literally been
well,
talking
when I think of Akari, I think of him as an athlete.
Oh, yeah,
I think he's going to be a DB in college. He got an offer from UTSA, Texas Tech, and Baylor.
What, sophomore?
Right?
Sophomore or junior?
No, he's a junior.
Junior.
They'll return 18 starters next year.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
big. That's big time.
Okay.
That's big time.
But 3 that they lose are Division I players. But they do return 18 starters.
Yeah.
Well, next up we've got Carthage versus Van Alstyne. I think we pretty much
We
all
know
would
who's gonna
agree
roll.
that Carthage will probably take care of business this week.
Any Carthage by 35, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
They can choose their score.
Just
on
say
the
Carthage by a running clock in the second half.
Easily.
That'll usually cover it.
Yeah, it's like you win that first game, we'll play Carthage.
game. And
Really?
just the
Okay.
breath leaves you.
Yeah, well, we had a good season, boys.
All right, then we have. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Lizzie,
Gilmer's
sorry.
got Gainesville tonight, and so
Tennyson's out, right?
Oh, I have not heard
Yeah,
this.
Tennyson's out. They have Rohan. How do I know this and y'all don't?
I didn't know. I haven't heard this.
Yeah,
they keep it under wraps.
Tennyson's out. Fluellen's in at quarterback, which is probably
Interesting.
one of the best athletes in East
Yep.
Texas. So, he's, I have no doubt in my mind that he can play
He's
quarterback.
oh, no.
But who's he going to throw to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I
that's
have
going
a
to
couple
drastically change. They're going to win this game. But Carthage next week, hopefully Tennyson's back.
They're going to need to figure it out
Well,
by
they've
next
got
week.
a good wideout named Tarek Tate.
Is his name is he as good as Rohan Fluellen? That's
I
what I mean. All right.
Tarek's the boy.
I'm sure he's great. I'm sure he's great.
Tarek's
But
the
Rohan
boy.
Fluellen is elite.
Yes, he's right. You're right. You're right. Okay, my game of the week is
She's so excited for
Malakoff
it.
versus Winsboro.
I want to hear about
That's
this.
an odd game of the week.
I want to
telling
hear
you,
about
She
this.
has been
I'm telling-
talking.
Where is
I'm getting
Malakoff at?
It's not far away from Corsicana.
Where's Corsicana?
Oh my gosh, close to center of the state. Anyway,
Okay.
Not-
That's why I don't ever head
gotta
down there.
move on from geography. Malakoff is 10-1. Winsboro is 10-1. Malakoff is outscoring their opponents 510 to 103 versus Winsboro 513 to 248. So
Okay.
you're talking about 2 high-power offenses. I think Malakoff wins because I think they have more playmakers, but it's going to be a really interesting contest between these two.
All right, well,
I'll take your word for
yeah,
it.
based on your excitement.
Jeez.
We're the
I'm
highlight.
so
Yeah. Let's
My game of the week, presented by Ora GMC. Cadillac is a Longview Lobo. It's a Frisco against Frisco Lone Star.
It's mine too.
I'm out here freezing, and I'm excited about
I will
it.
back that up.
Well, this game's happening in East Texas. We're in Dallas right now, so
Well, it sounds like that game is going to be 50 to 51.
yeah, it could be. It could be. But it's going to be a great contest.
I hope Longview has some of them heater things you see on the NFL sidelines. I'm gonna find my way in front of
I
them.
have hot
that'd
hands
be
for
nice.
you, Morgan.
I don't know
I
if
got hot hands
All
for
right.
you.
Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with our third segment.
And now at OR, we want to buy your used vehicle and we'll give you guaranteed top dollar for yours. And if you prefer to trade, even better, with massive savings on every new vehicle at OR Cadillac GMC in Longview.
Over the last 10 years, our office has achieved many record verdicts and settlements. Our commitment has always been to outwork and outfight any opponent we have in whatever courtroom we find ourselves in.
At Godarzi and Young, we have settlements and verdicts that are unmatched. Whether you come face to face with the corporation or the insurance company, they know that if they don't justly compensate our clients, they're going to have to face the Godarzi and Young trial team in the courtroom.
Don't fumble when you're looking for your next trailer. At R&J Trailers, we got the hookup. Cargo Mate, Hallmark, Text Line, Diamond C. We've got the inventory selection to get you into the end zone. Snap into savings with R&J Trailers. Don't pass up on the best deals around. R&J Trailers in Longview and online at rnjtrailers.com. We've got the hookup.
Injuries aren't planned, and here at Longview Orthopedic, we're going to work together with patients to try to obtain the best outcome possible for them. We have the ability to treat all injuries for all patients and athletes of all ages. One thing I want patients to understand is that, I've been in their situation. I played football at Texas A&M University, played offensive line, I was a guard, and being an athlete, suffering injuries, and having that passion to get back on the field gave me a really good perspective on the other side of the line as a treating physician now here at the Longview Orthopedic Clinic.
All right, we back. This is what I'm gonna call the players only segment. Hey. I got my boys on. I got Robert Vandergriff, got my boy Tony Rivera, James Williams, and we got Morgan on with us.
When you called him Robert earlier, I didn't know who you were talking about. I said, is Jay getting on? Like, Robert. I'm like,
hey,
I get tricky with it. He got my full government.
I had to call him by the government name. I had to be right for this one. But man, I get asked this all the time. Robert, I'm gonna start with you. What does it mean to be a Lobo?
Oh, it's everything to be a Lobo. It's the bread and butter pretty much of the game is you're going to hit and be violent and come with violence intentions the whole game.
Absolutely. Tony, man, me and you, we had a lot of time together.
Yes, sir.
A lot of meetings. Coach Fernandez is probably watching this happy for us right now, smiling from ear to ear.
What's up, Coach Fernandez?
Tell me about putting that rock and nail on the side of your helmet for you.
Man, it's something special. It's like my kids. Yeah. I want them to put it on. It's pride. There's not a lot of people that's prideful about their school like I feel like Longview is.
Yeah.
It's just something. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. And James, I'm not gonna ask you the same question, but I'm gonna kind of lay it up to you, man. But seeing the Lobos when you was younger, coming up to when you was in high school to now, what did it also kind of mean?
Oh, man, seeing it when I was younger, it meant everything. I started watching, and we was actually just talking about this. I started watching football back in '97. That's with the famous '97 team. Shout out to them boys.
Absolutely.
Started watching in '97. My auntie used to take me to the games, man. And, it's just it's still a sense of pride at a real young age to know that we got this, esteemed program that's, known for its history throughout the state of Texas, and knowing that, you're gonna be a part of that one day, as you get older. And so getting a chance, the opportunity to put that work in when they finally opened up those freshman doors back in 2000 with the King regime.
Yeah, absolutely.
It meant everything, just putting the work in, it creates so much character. It builds, it builds you into a real man even outside the sport, and it just teaches you so many things about how to overcome adversity. It teaches you pride about, how you present yourself, how you prepare, just all of that stuff. Lobo football just helped, growing up and getting ready to be that, it just helps transform you into the man that you eventually turn out to be.
Well, that's perfect. That's perfect. I want to ask you two guys, because I know both of you guys are involved with the youth.
Yeah.
Man, from your time as Lobos, giving back to the kids now, what are some of the ways that you try to implement being Lobo tough to these kids now? Whether it's with your coaching, whether it's with training.
Go ahead, Tony. I'll let you jump on
it. It's different now than it was, absolutely. I guess, 20 years ago. But we try to keep as much of the grit as you can. I don't take excuses.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
And really, what I do with the kids is I just keep them going. I try not to talk. That's one thing I learned from Coach Berry. I coached my first year, with him. He's like, man, you're doing too much talking. Don't talk. You just keep them going. So that's one thing that I do. I don't take a lot of talking from them, and I try not to talk that much and just work, really.
So with me working with kids and just being part of the Lobo program, it's taught me the attention to detail. Y'all can all speak on how we used to be in the off seasons up at the top, getting it in very specific drills, and if we're not doing it right, if we're not giving a good effort, everybody's doing it all over again, or we doing up downs. So when you're working with youth, you get a chance to instill those same qualities, and get down to the attention to detail, so that you're really affecting the kid and bringing forth change and helping them to be as best that they can. So that's what it's allowed me to be able to pass on to the youngsters coming up now.
Absolutely. Now, my man Robert, I don't know anybody else that's been keeping up with the Longviews, with Longview Lobos. No matter where you at, you already know what's going on across the country. You just made it back from Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Excited for this game. If you take that hat off, I probably will see smoke coming out because you're excited and ready.
Excited. I haven't got to see a game all year. Watched every game. Ready to see what the Lobos do and come up with this victory.
All right, Morgan, you want to kind of give us a little score or prediction about tonight?
Prediction night? I don't know, man. A lot of it depends. It's a cold night.
Absolutely.
It's cold. It's windy. A game like this, I feel like once it's in hand, starters need to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, this Coach King staff, along with him, they're elite. They've had a lot of success. He's not going to risk it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So it may not be as much out of hand as we want it to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like 21, 24, 28 points. We're going to see some backups in.
Yeah. What about you, James?
Man, our front seven is so good. They're so good up front. They suffocate quarterbacks a lot, and our depth has us allows us to be able to put continuous pressure all night. So I think this dude's gonna have a tough time all night, and I don't see him getting into the end zone too many times. But I will give him. I give them 17. Just it's a new team, and sometimes it takes you a little while to feel new teams out that you hadn't played before. So I'm gonna give them 17. I'm gonna take us with 42, and that's gonna be the final for me.
That's a big one.
I think we're gonna come out rolling, man.
That's a big one. How you guys feeling? What's the score?
I was going similar to James, man. I'm feeling 42-13.
Okay, I ain't mad at that.
I'm thinking 49-14. Defense settles in. Nothing the second half.
So nobody going over 21. Oh, what's yours?
Not mine. Man, I'm gonna give them 17 as well. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter. It's cold. It's a little windy. We're not gonna be able to throw the ball nearly as well as we would like to. I'm gonna go 35-14, 35-17.
I tell you.
Yes, of course. Longview versus everybody.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things though for us on defense, eliminate big plays. It's hitting, which we definitely gonna hit. A lot of these teams in Dallas, and not a knock to them, but a lot of these teams in Dallas, one thing they don't do is play physical football like Longview do, and that's one thing that you're gonna see us do tonight.
You can't prepare for it in a week.
No, you cannot. No. You cannot, and so that's why I look for us to enforce our will on them early on.
I like it. I love it. I think Taylor gonna take us for. I think he gonna get them 3 more tonight, man. That's why I'm giving him that 42, man.
I think he's gonna get the title tonight.
Hey, I'm here for it.
TD title.
I hope so.
Needs 2 to tie, 1 to go up.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing I just want is a win. Let's go on to the next week. Let's go 1-0 each day, each week. Let's go for it.
Go Bows.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
More, you got anything else?
Man, just it's good to see you guys. Glad y'all are here.
Always.
Look to see y'all next week and the week after and the week after.
You already know.
See y'all in Dallas.
Yes, absolutely.
Arlington, wherever you want to be.
Wherever you want to be.
We were just talking about that. We want to travel, but not too far.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go wherever they go.
Well, the unfortunate part is we won't be streaming this game. You got to go find it. UFL.
No, it's NFHS Network.
Yes.
They are going to charge you a monthly subscription.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can't bring it to you. We tried.
But come back at halftime.
Yeah, we'll be on at halftime.
Come back at halftime. We'll bring you the updates, highlights, and
we're gonna have live highlights coming out throughout the game. So as they happen, they'll be going out.
All right, tell a friend to tell a friend that Longview Game Day is definitely coming back at halftime. Turn your notifications on. Our sponsors, we thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you guys. We got about 35 minutes before game time. We see you guys at halftime.